right, good evening and a warm welcome to AYV and Sunday on channel. All right, good evening and a very warm welcome to AYV and Sunday here on AYV Television on channel 43 and DSTV channel 399 on Radio FM 101.7 and on all our different social media platforms. But you can always contribute because we do value your contributions. Share them with us on the AYV News Facebook page. We would find time to go through some of them in the course of the conversation. I'm going to start off with you, Pope, for obvious reasons. What specifically where or are the features of Cherry Cocoa that give Dr. Samuel Kamara the thoughts, the power that says to just choose him amongst 11 members who expressed interest in the running mates?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me state very clearly that the 2022 Constitution of the APC made it very clear in Article 57, that is nomination of Vice President, that the presidential candidate shall, upon consultation and approval of the National Advisory Committee, choose his running mate. So it simply means it's an individual decision before coming to NAC. You understand? And you could recall, there is this belief in the APC that the APC, we do not lose the 2018 elections. We have our opinion, that's why we petitioned it, and we still have that belief that we did not lose it. And the tickets that in our belief that won that election was the Dr. Samuel Kamara and the Cherry Cocoa ticket.
So in essence, just out of curiosity, you did not accept defeat as a party?
Well, maybe you will say out of curiosity, out of our belief, and based on how we perform, based on the numerical strength that we, and based on the IRF forms that we gathered, we knew very well that that elections was taken away from us. But we looked at the records that we have when the former president and Esbai Kurma was in governance. We have a record for peace. And I think it is incumbent upon us as a party to ensure we maintain that peace. So it is, first of all, let it be known that it is the prerogative of the presidential candidate to choose his running mate.
But were there considerations taken, for him to have made that choice?
Yeah, there is this consideration which we refer to one party consideration, the consideration of other people, the thoughts of other people. But what is his consideration, trust me, I think it will be the only one independent enough to state why I decided
So there were no consultations, no negotiations.
That is why it was a NAC, a consultation with NAC. And when NAC consults, you understand, it does not go down. But there are these views that I will share with you. One among them, we looked at what we refer to as generational consideration. You understand? And if we have a person in the personality of Dr. Samuel Kamara with such wealth of experiences, we need someone that will also fit in with the 21st century generational thoughts and ideas, and that is exactly where we see Cherry Cocoa.
So you're blending the old and the new.
Fine, thank you. That is exactly where we see Cherry Cocoa fits in. That is one. Then two, we look at three other key areas. We look at experience, we look at humility, and we looked at qualifications. Cherry Cocoa is that humble character that understands the political landscape of this country. It has been manifested because he has spent 15 years in the well of parliament. I think that is a clear indication that he understands the political demography of our country, because everything around our country is shrouded within the well of parliament, and you know everything. And not just that, if not the most populated region, but the second most, that is exactly where Cherry Cocoa is coming from. That is Western region, which is very key and very important. And also, we must note that for you to have a vice president or running mate, that person must fit in to be president at any time. In essence, he has served as deputy speaker. of the Well of Parliament. He has served as leader of opposition. So he now knows the pros and cons between governance and not being in governance. You understand? He has also been a member of the ECOWAS Parliament. So with all this expertise and with this experience, these are all considerations, you understand? That's why, but above all, for us, the APC, the general membership, the APC, we believe it is destiny, because APC is a party of faith and belief.
With all of these features you've mentioned, Mohammed, going by the official pronouncement of the 2018 elections, that very team lost the elections to the BO and Julde team in 2018.
Except you did not get me well.
Well, that is why I said according to official declaration, not the belief of the APC.
Well, we still, as I'm sitting here, I am sitting here with our belief.
That you
based on our performance,
that you did not lose
based
the
on
election.
our performance for 10 years.
You did not lose the election.
At all.
Okay.
That is our belief. And we stick by it, and we look forward to that same ticket to give us the victory 2022.
Sir, let me hear you on the selection of Honorable Chelno as the running mate to Dr. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara. I mean, going back by 2018, it's the same team, and they lost, according to the pronouncement by the National Electoral Commission, then NEC. They lost to BO and Julde, and at the end of the day, we saw what happened. Like he is saying, they did not accept the results. They did not accept defeats that they lost the election as a party. But there were 11 of them in the race. Cheikoko appeared to have been the favorite after being selected by Dr. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara. So what gives him, that edge? What puts him in a better position over the others?
Yes, I've listened to my brother. He spoke well, but I will go to another level to say that Cheikoko, is just a lucky guy. He's just a lucky guy. He happens to have benefited from the overwhelming popularity the Fullers are gaining in our local politics. Okay, so I will say that the Fuller consideration, played a great part in it all, right? You see, we should take note of this. You know, the Mendes are like 32%, the Timnis are like 31%, and then you have the Fullers, you have so. My brother Pope might disagree, but the Fuller consideration played a huge part in Cheikoko becoming, the favorite candidate for the running mate position of the APC. Because, the reason why the SPP, for instance, maintained Jude Jallo is because of mainly because of his Fuller connection. Right? And so, had the APC done the other thing, gone the other way around, it will have militated against them so much.
Are you saying it's only the tribal card that's played a role in the selection of the running mates for the two parties?
It's played a very serious role. I don't want to go again to what he has said already. I'm just going to another dimension.
Do you not take region into consideration? Do you also not take character and competence of the two individuals who've been selected as running mates, both Jude Jallo and Cherno Ramadan Majuba?
Yeah, we cannot talk about all of that. I will just focus on what I said about the Fuller, about the Fuller connection, right? There is this talk around that had the APC gone the other way to choose another person, the Fullers will have migrated wholesome to the SPP. And so to maintain the balance, was in the view of many people, the main reason why Cheikoko was considered, because there were other names coming up.
I'm tempted to ask this question. I have seen over time the elections I have witnessed or covered, or AYV we've covered over time. We've been able to realize that no political party can actually win a national election with just the support of its tribal kingsmen. So with the APC, if what you're saying is anything to go by, taking the tribal card into consideration for choosing Honorable Cherno as running mate, is that in itself a choice for winning?
Well, in their view, it will help them greatly. In their view, it will help them greatly. Of course, we cannot talk about competence because we all know Cheikoko is competent. I mean, as he said, he has been in the House of Parliament for 15 years. He has served in various capacities. Now he's leader of the opposition. I mean, so that gives him all the maturity needed, I mean, to handle the highest office, I mean, of the land, even, right? So that is, so even the other guys who came up are also equally very competent, although some of them just came up, I mean, because they said, okay, we want to make ourselves relevant, right? Because we have some people who just came up, I mean, into the race for the flag bearership of the APC, for instance, just because they want to make themselves very important figures.
But there are notable names, sir. There are notable names.
Yeah.
You take into consideration even Akisoya, who was served as mayor of Freetown Municipality, Madina Rahman, who served as deputy minister of health. You have Diana Konomani, who served, I think, in two different ministries under former President Kuruma. Alhaji Samuel Samsumana, who served as Vice President of the Republic. Dr. Kaifala Mara also served as minister under the former president. And Bona, who in fact also who also contested for the flag bearership of the party. Yeah. So these are names that speak volume to obtaining political power under the previous regime.
I agree, but please take Samsumana out. Yes, because amongst all those you've mentioned, he was actually disqualified, right?
From standing to be elected.
As flag bearer of the
exactly.
APC.
But I don't know if that precludes him from being selected as a running mate.
No, we are talking about I want to focus on the key issue on the floor.
Go ahead.
Right? I would say not everybody who aspires to be president is a presidential material. Some of them, you can easily dismiss them as not being serious. Right? They just want to, like I said earlier, they just want to make themselves relevant.
Do you have names amongst those who are in the race?
I don't want to attempt to make names.
Go ahead.
Right, because I am representing my own personal opinion here.
Sure.
But if you want to, I can easily name names.
I mean, we're looking at the different people.
It should not be so decent.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it should not be so decent. Right. But what I am saying is that, I mean, the fact of the matter is that much as qualification, much as experience, much as all of this play the part, but I tell you that the fuller connection also played a part, and we should not ignore that fact.
All right. Let me bring Dr. Tarawali in. I mean, Doc, the question I would love to ask is, when that choice was being made to appoint or to select Honorable Bash running mate to Dr. Samura Kamara, what were, in your estimation, what do you think were the things that should have been considered? Because you take a look at how politics is being practiced now in Sierra Leone. We're seeing the gender card also playing a very crucial and critical role as to where should people go in, where should people lean, where should people vote in and support and all of that. And we saw quite a few women, I mean, showed interest in that post, but were left out. And Chai Koko, who was there in 2018, again, got the seats. What were I mean, in your estimation, do you think we are considering?
All right, few things. Let me start with a couple of things. So first, Pope and his party and his team are better placed to explain their decision.
Right.
What I'll provide here is an academic analysis supported by freely available evidence.
Go ahead.
Right? So I totally respect him on Article 57 of the APC Constitution, which says the presidential candidate will select his running mates upon consultation. So that's entirely the responsibility of Dr. Samura Kamara.
Right.
But there are a few things he did not mention which are critical in selecting a running mate.
Go ahead.
It's value addition. Because the overarching objective is to win the elections, right? And so if you have a running mate, what value does that running mate add to the ticket for you to win? It's about electability. Right?
Right.
So that's the bottom line. Another thing that you can consider is loyalty. And people don't talk about it, but it's very critical in African politics. Can you go to bed and sleep that your vice president will not undermine you? And I don't want to go back to what happened in the previous regime. You want to be sure that this man or woman is entirely loyal to the presidential candidate. You can fly out of the country. Your vice president will serve the interest of the country and your interest as presidential candidate. Another consideration is also issues of around the way presidency works in Sierra Leone. You are expected to be engaging in far more wider international issues. And your vice president should be deeply rooted
at the local level.
At the local level. So you need someone who is deeply rooted within the political, within the system. But let me challenge Pope on a few things. I think the APC shot itself. They clouded their path to victory by appointing Cherno Majuba as the vice presidential running mate. The facts are there. In a bad time, when the APC performs badly, they get about 58-60% of the votes in the Western area. And this is a region dominated largely by people of northern extraction who will vote APC anyways. So you go to Kalbata, you go to Kisi Road. These are all people, if you check them, from Putloko, Cambia, Makeni, of northern extraction. Go to Abacha Street. Just say, people will answer you. Right?
Right.
So you don't, appointing a Westerner does not necessarily improve your chances of winning the elections. And I'll give you facts.
Go ahead, because I have a question about whether we should take regions into consideration. Yeah, go ahead.
And this is why I'll also challenge Theo. On, well, not challenge. I like his point that there was a fuller consideration.
Right.
At any time you consider the tribe versus the region, people versus territory, you lose the elections. The last time a northerner of the APC, a northerner, had contested election and appointed another northerner or someone from the western region, they've all lost. And Escoma did in 2002, he brought a fuller, also of western area and northern extraction. They lost. I respect his position about the APC not losing. That's the APC's position. They've gone to court. That's not for me to say. As an academic, 2018, the same ticket contested elections, and they lost.
The North and the West.
The North and the West, and they lost. That's very clear. What you then need is, what do we require to win these elections? I think the APC banked on nationwide disaffection on issues around the cost of living crisis. And these are all very valid points. Cost of living crisis, increasing prices of commodities, fuel, and general state of poverty, right? They banked on it, that this will mobilize anger in what we call in politics anger agency, that people will be mobilized and vote. What they miss is there is a territorial consideration in when you are deciding elections. And for 2023, two districts which will determine, this will be Kono and Cambia. And I'll explain that for you in a second. One, by all indication, and with respect to those political parties, I'm only doing an academic analysis.
I would love all the specifics for the districts, for the Kono and Cambia. Let me just ask you this question. When you talk about regional considerations, let's go back. So you look at the SLPP tickets, it's the South and the North.
Yes.
And we've seen the inroads Chulde made in the North, giving the SLPP some votes there. And that's, you go to the APC, you just mentioned in 2018, the same ticket they've presented, they lost because already you've taken a candidate from a region that you know, even if you don't campaign, you have at least 50% of the vote in that.
No APC candidates, sorry, no APC supporter in the Western area will refuse to vote for the APC,
right? Because
Cherno was not appointed as vice presidential candidate. None.
So it's a secured region already.
It's a secured region. What the APC needs to do is to ramp up voter turnout. If you get an 85% voter turnout and drive the support to maybe, it is really possible, 65-70% of the votes, and go to Kono, right? And win Kono. Let me just explain a few things.
Go ahead, let me allow you.
The 2023 election will be won and lost in two districts, Kono and Cambia.
Okay.
Right? And the reasons why Kono and Cambia are very critical are this. In 2018, you have the C4C in Kono. And in same 2018, you have NGC in Cambia. Right?
Right.
These two parties are all but gone now. I assure you. They are all but gone. Right? The mayor of Kwedu City has declared for SLPP.
Right.
and the only party that is consolidated in Kono district. So there are 4 factions in Kono. You have C4C, right? C4C led by Salamina, right? You have Akune. Akune is the movement supporting former Vice President
right.
Sam Sumana. Then the APC is fractured into 2. You have the traditional loyal APC led by Diana Konomani, and those members of the APC who still believe that Chief Sam Sumana should continue. So they are part APC, part Akune, right? So those are the 4 camps. The only consolidated camp there is the SLPP. And the Salamina camp and all those other people are more likely, I'm not saying they've gone,
lining themselves.
are more likely to line up. So a disintegration of C4C in Kono will benefit largely the SLPP than the APC. And the danger of the APC not choosing a running mate from Kono is far-reaching. So how this will happen?
Can I hold you on that? I'll bring you back in just right after this clip. I want us to take a story that Bokari Matia did. You know, when the Kono people stormed the house of Diana Konomani in Freetown, after what they said, we've heard that you've not been considered. No son or daughter from Kono has been considered for the running mate position. So Chief Alhaji Samuel Samsumana was in that meeting. Diana Konomani was in that meeting. They listened to what the Kono people had to say. In fact, Karamokaba was also amongst those who went to Diana Konomani and Chief Samuel Samsumana. Let's join Bokari Matia quickly, and we'll be right back.
We're not a fools to be fooled by a fool. They use we forget to my own logo. Then we enjoy ourselves. Then we live on a grass house. Yes. Why? They say why have a long tail? And that long tail why have? Madam Filadana Konomani. We don't wait for you now.
But to come for asking this, if now you agree to this statement, be a we. For make it send and back say, we as Kono youth them, we ready for stand by the party. But if they left we behind, we will send out a message. Yes. And that message will spread out outside.
We are sending a salient threat. The one that ordered the Senate to threat, me and tell and say, we are sending a salient threat to Freetown. Yes. And we are piling pressure on Freetown. That Kono will matter. Yes. Eastern region will matter. Course, yeah. Southeast will matter. Yes. So, the word for the wise is vital.
Those were district executives of the All People's Congress Party in Kono district after over a 4 hours journey to converge at the residence of the former Minister of Lands, Diana Konomani, in Freetown. Speaker after speaker highlighted that the party has abandoned the district and the marginalization, if not addressed, will cost the party greatly. The meeting also marked the squash of the discord between Diana Konomani and former Vice President Chief Samuel Samsumana. Responding to the concerns raised by party members from Kono district, former Minister of Lands Diana Konomani assured that she and the former Vice President will adequately inform the people of Kono soon on the outcome of their inquiry and concerns.
So we want the world to know, as Kono is fully represented here, when I not agree for long we can meet tonight, when a message don't reach. But trust me, we are both leaders in this country. Whatever we state out here today will be a policy statement. And I want to believe that at the same what I will say, we don't get a message. As we sit here already, the world don't receive a message. And it don't go far. But we beg, because I know that the same people are for answer. We're not able for answer. But we can't come up for face the answer. And we can't come up pretty soon. Because we must get answer. Whatever it is, answer the comment. A good, a bad, a ugly, answer the comment. And then we go decide. I'm just saying, this is the fact, this is the politics. Whatever the answer, I want for a show now. that me and him two go decide on Kono reply together as a team.
Former Vice President Chief Samuel Samsumana spoke extensively on the renewed accord between him and Diana Konomani, while speaking in parables of what this new alliance means for Kono district in general.
From waiting, all the speakers then don't say, confirmed by my sister, and no say, this gathering, the world hear about it. But as we now know, one can Kono for explain to owner, but they don't allow we. Follow we go. You know what you do? The wallow found out there to tell. Where Chief Brewer, yeah, the small sister not be talking now us. Where can they almost tell them the pandemic? Mama they go. Mama they go. Mama give me an also. But when they 2 days together, we think it happen. No go shape Kono again.
Both Diana Konomani and Chief Samuel Samsumana have been rumored to be considered candidates for the running mate's position tag ticket with flag bearer Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara as the party braces for the June 24th multi-tier elections. Bokari Matia, AYV News, Freetown.
All right. Thank you very much, Bokari Matia, for putting that story together. So, Doc, here, there you have it.
You see those two people?
Right.
They've been literally, well, I'll say fighting in a very literal term for years.
Right.
When it comes to the interest of Kono, they're
together.
They are ready to put soldiers to the wheel and push. And that's a demonstration to tell you. And people have asked questions, why other regions? From 1996, when we started our democratic journey, all tickets, all winning coalition have been either north-southern or south-northern. No northwestern ticket has ever won the election. Pakaba ran with Jodembi. Pakaba, Solomon Berewa. Aneskoma, Samsumana. Aneskoma, Samsumana. Even when Samsumana was, whatever happened, fired or whatever, he was replaced by Victor Bokorifo.
Right.
No ticket of this nature has ever won an election. And do you know the facts? The SLPP knows that the path, and I mentioned this to a couple of friends the other day, why, someone will argue why Kenema, for instance, why Kailau, why Moyamba are not agitating. They are equally important, but in the political history of Sierra Leone, we know those districts are not mathematically significant to allow APC victory, right? The only district in the southern region, in the eastern region, that can provide significant support, go back and look at history. 2007, when former Vice President Samsumana was appointed running mate, the APC got 35% of the votes on the first ballot. On the runoff, it went out to about 41, 42. In 2012, right, when they were already in power, that increased to about 70%. It drops to 20% in 2018, right? President Bio knows that there is a path to victory for the SLPP, and that path is Kono. He's been to Kono since 2023, 5 times. No president, apart from Aneskoma going to Makeni, what is his home district, no president has visited
Kono that much.
Kono that much. Because the SLPP knows if the C4C disintegrates and we take those votes, right, we are more likely to win this election.
Already that is happening. Like you mentioned, the defection of the sitting
What
mayor.
could have stemmed this? And this is what the APC needs to understand. If you are in opposition, you have 2 responsibilities.
Which are?
You have to defend your votes, protect your territory, right? Whilst creating a surge in the opposition stronghold. What the APC is struggling with now, first, there's an SLPP surge in Putloko, for instance. Julde has literally moved to Putloko and making a case that this is my home district. Therefore, come and support us, right? What the APC needs to do, especially in the era of PI, proportional representation. The last election, the APC got 10% of the votes in Bo. If the APC got the same now, they will not win a seat in Bo district. The calculation should be, how do we improve those votes to 10%? The last time they got 18 in Moyamba, when the APC is in power in 2018, right? They got 18% of the votes. The next question is, how can we improve our votes in Moyamba to take us to 24 that will guarantee us of 2 seats, right? So there is a pathway for the APC. The choice of a running mate has clouded that. What this would have done, I don't care who that person is, whether it was former Vice President Sam Sumana or Madam Diana Konomani, what that could have done is to match the SLPP and the efforts of President Bio in Kono toe-to-toe. And if I'd done that toe-to-toe, then you go to Cambia.
Where the NGC is.
Where the NGC is almost gone these days.
And again, we've also seen a pattern.
And the difference
is almost
gone to SLPP. But the difference between Kono and Cambia is this. The SLPP is not likely to be the biggest beneficiary of a disintegration of NGC in Cambia. Because what happened in Cambia, there were serious disaffection. Strong people within the party, the APC, the petitos of this world, who were not active in the 2018 election. The strategy of the APC to win an election should be, first, we need a significant surge in Kono, protecting those votes in Kono. And the only way they could have protected that vote in Kono is to have a kind of person in that ticket, right? And then you bring in Petito in Cambia, right? In a strong way, providing leadership. And other, when I say Petito, I'm just calling him. There are other people. You bring a strong position there. What you do is, if the APC get 50% or 55% of the votes in Cambia, which is very likely if they put the right people to run the campaign, and have a Kono vice presidential candidate right in Kono, then you have a message to send to the people of Kono, right? And when you do that, you mobilize the western area. You get people to vote, and you mobilize Potloko Tonkolili to vote. The possibility of the APC winning this election was almost clearer, until they take a decision which is really...
Until the appointment of the running mate.
It's an own goal. They shot themselves on their foot completely.